The holidays. A time for joy, cheer, and the occasional scream that echoes down the snow-covered streets. Welcome, my delightful guests. I am Lady Noelle, your humble hostess for this evening of twisted holiday tales. Please, do make yourselves comfortable. Tonight on Wynoriffic Wednesdays, we unwrap 2 gifts of seasonal dread, 2 stories of Christmas gone terribly wrong. First, we delve into the life of a mother pushed to the brink, a woman whose Christmas wish was simple: peace. But as she would soon discover, Santa's list often comes with unintended consequences. The mall Santa, a harmless tradition, or so one might think. But when little Martin pens his letter to Saint Nick, the line between wish and reality blurs. Some gifts, you see, can't be returned. And so, from the pen of author N.M. Brown, as performed by Rissa Montanez, I bring you MisSent Intentions.
I've been in therapy for anger management for the past 6 months now. No, I didn't hulk out and get arrested for battery or anything like that. My husband sought out therapy for me due to me snapping all the time. It's my go-to. My mind is always so caught up in trying to right itself. It's a jumbled knot of doubts, insecurities, and fears. Each time I stop and try to even attempt to straighten and separate that knot into rational and irrational pathways, our son Martin interrupts me, sending the thoughts back into their nest of dread like a startled turtle. Questions are too much to bear at times. There have been plenty of instances where he's tried to get my attention and I've snapped at him, only for him to have wanted to show me a picture he drew for me. With all of my heart, I can assure you that I don't want to be this way. My husband Josh and I had an extremely hard time getting pregnant with Martin. It took us 4 years and 2 miscarriages. It sickens me to have given birth to this beautiful, healthy child, only to snap at him all the time. Anyway, that's my deal. My therapist told me to start writing things down and, well, I kinda got addicted to it. When one of those vile, intrusive thoughts enters your mind, treat them as if they were leaves floating on a stream. Briefly acknowledge them, then let them float on by until they disappear. Don't try to hold on to one for too long, and the ones that are too large to float, write them down. Especially anger. Get it on paper and out of your heart. If someone makes you mad or hurts you, write them a letter. You don't even have to give it to them. The act alone will make you feel better. Those were his exact words. Today is the day that Martin and I go to the local mall to see Santa. The line's impossibly long, weaving in and out of the aisles like the frayed ends of my hair. I have to remind myself that even though Martin was 3, and likely won't remember this, it's an investment for his future. It means a lot to me as a mother to have these memories with him. He will only be little like this once. It would be so much easier if Josh was here with us. He's been working 2 jobs to ensure the best Christmas possible for our little family. That's what I tell myself, at least. In reality, I feel like a single parent, as shitty as that is to say, and that I have to do everything concerning Martin on my own. But I paste a smile on my weather-numbed face and wait in line with my little guy. like a good mom. Martin's hand is squirming around like an electric eel in a frying pan. One step out and the people behind us would bum rush us out of the line. And I really don't want to have to punch someone in the face today. When it's finally our turn, store employee elves lift little Martin onto Santa's lap, pausing just long enough for pictures. It takes my most embarrassing efforts to get him to cooperate with Santa long enough to get a decent one. He rattles off a lengthy list, appropriately creative for a little dude his age. An elf presents him with a candy cane as he hops off of Santa's lap. I thank him and turn around to leave.
Ho, ho, ho. And what would you like for Christmas this year, Mommy?
Santa asks, stopping me in my tracks. As this happens, Martin drops his freshly unwrapped candy cane on the floor, initiating a siren of tears. The man playing Santa still stares at me expectantly despite the display. Can't he see how badly I want to leave? There are a lot of people behind us, and I can already hear sighs of annoyance as an unknown voice from towards the back of the line drifts up to us.
See, Bonnie? Naughty little children don't get presents from Santa. Don't be like that little boy. Okay, honey?
Jesus H. Christ. What a douche. I sputter the first thing that came to mind. I'm good, thank you, Santa. Have a Merry Christmas. And rush Martin away from the line. There's a little play area in the lobby next door with cookies, and a make-your-own ornament station with a sign that has Santa's Workshop painted on in large green glittered letters. Next to it sits a square mailbox with pencils and paper, all laid out on a table underneath it. It seems kind of redundant since the kids literally just got done telling him what their wish lists are, but I guess it's cute to be able to have something to save. Martin waddles over to the mailbox right away and knocks all of the pencils off the table. Of course he does. My frustration is boiling, but instead of lashing out at Martin, I engage him in an activity. If he's focused, I can focus. We toddle back over to the table together, and I hand him a pencil as I take one myself. He repeats the list he made for Santa as I write it down. Once he's finished, I tell him to take his pencil and draw Santa a picture as I decide to write my own note. Dear Santa, this year, I just want peace. I want to wake up in the morning in silence, if only for 10 minutes. I want to go sit on the toilet in peace, without interruption. I want to sleep in until noon like I did before I had kids. I want to have a life again. Can you do that for me? Didn't think so. Signed, one exhausted mother. Martin drew Santa a picture of a squiggly cat with 5 eyes. I giggle as I fold the piece of paper to stuff in the envelope. Another mother comes over and asks about enrollment for pre-K. I stifle the urge to tell her to calm her tits, and that enrollment isn't until May. But I smile and answer the question. The sooner I'm done with this one final interaction, the sooner I can go home. It will be overwhelmingly soothing to go from a crowd of dozens of people to just Martin and I. It feels suffocating sometimes. It's later in the evening now. Things are settled, and Martin's asleep in his warm bed. I find the pants I was wearing earlier. A folded square of paper is retrieved from the pocket and placed on my dresser as I leave the room to throw them in the wash. I hate it when paper gets washed. It breaks into those endless little bits. You'll get them all back from the lint trap if you're lucky enough to have it transferred to the dryer and not get stuck in the washer drain. Josh gets off from his second job soon, and I want to take a nap to be fresh when he comes home. The time after work where we talk about our day is sometimes the only alone time we have together. We both look forward to it all day. Martin left one of his blankets on our bed from earlier in the day. I inhale his sweet little boy smell, feeling a tear slip down my face just as I remember the letter I wrote to Santa earlier. My sorrows lull me to sleep quickly. I'm surprised to find the sun shining through our bedroom window when I wake up. Martin must be sleeping in. Normally, he's tearing through the house before the sun even thinks to rise. The clock on my bedside reads 11:17 a.m. I run to Martin's room, only to find a storage room. The presents Josh and I put under the tree for him the night before are gone. No discarded toys stab my feet as I walk next to the tree. What's worse, every single handmade ornament we have ever made with Martin is gone. I run sobbing to our bedroom, throwing open the door. The folded note is still on our dresser. My hands shake as I begin to open it. Horror grips my senses as I see it's not the note I wrote, but the one I wrote for Martin. His squiggle cat still danced across the side of the page. Violently, I start to shake my husband awake.
Joshua! Joshua!
I screech through tears.
Where's the baby? What happened to Martin?
My husband stares vacantly through sleepy eyes. His lips hold a tone of concern as he asks, "Babe, who's Martin?"
Poor dear. Nothing is quite as haunting as forgetting your own child, is it? But don't worry, there's more to unwrap. You can find more of Rissa's talents over on the Creepy Podcast, which you can find over at www.creepypod.com. Ah, yes. Our next tale features a couple, happily child-free, finding joy in other traditions. Naughty gingerbread men and neighborly goodwill. But beware, my darlings. Not all decorations are as hollow as they appear. Some inflatables conceal more than air. And when Mike's temper leads to deflation, what rises may not be as merry as he hoped. It seems not all neighbors come bearing gifts. Sometimes they bring sharper things. Our final festive fatality also comes to us by author N.M. Brown and is performed by Olivia Steele and Kris Konkol. The calligraphy on the gift tag says, Christmas Deflation. I had just about finished the genitals on the gingerbread man when my husband's voice boomed through the kitchen, making me slip and leaving one particular cookie way more endowed than he had any right to be. What? Y'all don't make yours anatomical? It's a naughty little Christmas tradition we started since we have no children. Don't act like you don't do it, or know someone who has. Anyway, Mike was beyond mad at whatever the hell he was going on about in the other room. I stifled a sigh and gave myself permission for a quick eye roll before entering the living room.
The fucking Browns. Do you see this, Helen?
he asked, frantically gesturing to our front window. No response entered my mind or left my lips, as I knew I wouldn't need one.
This is a tiny, boxed-in cul-de-sac. There isn't room for half of the holiday shit he puts up.
He paused to let out a scoff.
And this new one, this takes the cake.
Across the street sat Mary and George Brown. They were the sweetest older couple, never hurt or bothered anybody, but for some reason, they represented every insecurity my husband had about himself. He was never too rude or hateful to their face, but only because I bore the brunt of his verbal diarrhea behind their backs. An inflatable Santa Claus consumed most of the entrance to their front yard, like 10 pounds of leaves crammed into an 8-pound trash bag.
They even park their car on the street to make room for it?
Mike prattled on. The tinny chime of our doorbell interrupted his tirade. My gratitude for a temporary escape sped my steps to the door. Mrs. Brown's rosy face greeted me from our front porch. "Hello, Mrs. Brown. Would you like a cookie? I have some freshly made in the kitchen." My manners completely made me forget the fact that they were naughty gingerbread cookies, tits and all. I was all too relieved when she declined. Proverbial sparkles danced in the corners of her eyes as she smiled up at me. "George and I are going out of town to see our boys for the Christmas holiday, back home to West Virginia where we're from. We'll leave tomorrow morning and we'll be back by Sunday evening if the weather permits. Do you have any plans, dear?" she asked. I could tell she was hopeful for a certain answer, but which one I wasn't sure yet. "Nope, not really. We're just gonna buy a pre-made turkey from Publix and open gifts before bed on Christmas Eve. My family came down sick this holiday, so we're going to reconvene in January when everyone's feeling better." An audible sigh of relief escaped her thin lips. "Oh, that's too bad about your folks, honey. But would it be any trouble for one of you to collect the mail and maybe shovel the walk the day before we're due back? I'll be happy to pay you for your troubles," Mary explained. Mike wasn't going to be happy, but when an adorable little lady asks you to help her, what kind of person would I be to say no? We had to shovel ours anyway, and, well, theirs was just across the way. Hell, I'll do it myself if he doesn't want to. "Of course, Mrs. Brown. We'd be happy to. No payment necessary. You guys just have fun on your trip, okay? If you really want to pay me, bring me back some pepperoni rolls, yeah?" I winked. She chuckled, agreed, and told us to have a Merry Christmas as she left the front porch. I watched as her aging frame shuffled across our yard and into hers, stopping to brush some loose snow off the Santa Claus before going inside. At first, I thought Mike was just being an asshole, but the thing really is grotesquely huge. My husband had overheard the entire exchange and is now eyeing me furiously.
Aren't there enough things that you ask me to do here at home?
I cut him off at the pass. "Yeah, I know, it's really no big deal, okay?"
How long are they going to be gone?
"Only 5 days. She's gonna bring back pep rolls. It's gonna be fine." Mike's eyes took on a glint of mischief as he inhaled to speak.
So, do you think they'll deflate Santa before they go?
"What the fuck?"
If they don't, can I do it?
he interrupted. At this point, I just wanted it all to be over with. The last thing I wanted to incur was another one of his rants. The negativity takes layers off of one's life, I just know it does. So I agreed. If they don't deflate it, you can let the air out of the damn thing. As long as you don't damage it. I don't care. But you're shoveling that walk. The next morning came and went. We waved the Browns off as they drove away. The Santa Claus loomed in their wake, swaying tauntingly at my husband. It was almost funny, really. I can remember the giggling despite the anger I felt boiling in his chest. "Don't be upset. You get to deflate it, remember? Give it 1 hour and..." Mike was already across the lawn heading into their yard. It was really amazing how long those things take to fully deflate. We watched it from our front window. It was sad, like watching the wicked warlock of the North Pole. It just melted into itself until it was nothing but a nylon puddle in their front yard. I spent the rest of the day researching the internet. That's what it's there for, right? Seriously though, I had no idea how to reinflate that thing by the time they got home. I wasn't sure if it needed a pump or if there was a button you pushed. Mike was completely unsympathetic to my concern.
We'll just tell him that it was really windy here one day, so I deflated it to prevent it from being damaged. Problem solved. It's better than my initial plan of stabbing a hole in it with a shovel and saying it was an accident.
Unbelievable. The welcoming smell of coffee didn't wake me the next day, nor the morning sun shining through the windows. It was the sound of my husband yelling in the kitchen.
What the hell is this?
He was gesturing frantically once again toward our front window.
I can't fucking believe this.
The Santa Claus stood proud and victorious on their front lawn, as if nothing ever changed. I couldn't believe my eyes. Maybe it's on a timer? I muttered uselessly. My shoulder knocked back against the wall as I backed out of his way. His eyes were menacingly wide, and his features were set hard. It looked like they had never seen a day of joy. A clatter came from inside the kitchen as he rummaged through the dishwasher. "Mike, hey, what are you doing?" My voice came out high-pitched but even-toned. Getting angry hadn't ever done me any good when he got like that. He emerged with a kitchen knife, one of the sharpest that we had.
That windstorm?
He breathed through huffs.
Maybe it blew a tree branch into their Santa and I didn't notice it until I was shoveling the walk.
Those poor people. I really shouldn't joke about such things, but maybe I should increase my knowledge of divorce law for my New Year's resolution. A scream cut through the cold air, lingering to muffle through the window panes before reaching my ears. I began to run to the front door as fast as my feet would take me. On my way out, I glanced to the window. The neighbor's front yard was a smattering of crimson against the white of freshly fallen snow. My husband lay gurgling in the street by their mailbox. I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. As I looked up from the screen, the Santa was moving. A figure dressed in black erupted from the middle of the Santa suit, bleeding profusely from the stomach. He left trails of blood throughout the snow as he ran off through their backyard. The police came in no time at all, apprehending and calling an ambulance for the man who had now killed my husband. It turned out he'd been casing their home for a couple of weeks. He knew they'd be going on vacation and depended on the cover of the inflatable to hide himself until nightfall. The robber survived his injuries and fully served out a 5-year sentence in a prison the next county over. 5 years. That's all he got for ruining my life. Christmas will never be the same to me. I've since remarried during that time, and we now have a 3-year-old daughter. A chill goes up my spine every time we see an inflatable Christmas decoration. And what's worse, our neighbor just put up the largest inflatable snowman I've ever seen across the street. And so, dear guests, remember, this season, while the lights may twinkle, the shadows between them often hold secrets best left unwrapped. Thank you for joining us for our first Wynoriffic Wednesday. Until next time, may your holidays be frightful and your nightmares delightful.